About 12 years ago, I started working for a startup car company. There were about 20 people in the office when I started. Every time it was somebody's birthday, they would take a birthday card and put it in a red folder and pass it around the office for everybody to sign. After a while, the office got so big that it wasn't really practical to do this for everybody's birthday. Well, they stopped doing it on my birthday. I felt a little left out, so I went to CVS and I bought a birthday card that said, "Sorry, we forgot your birthday." I put it in a red envelope and set it on somebody's desk. It got passed around the office and signed, and I got a birthday card. I don't know what this says about me as a person, but I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, fast forward to today. YouTube gives out these creator awards for reaching certain milestones of subscribers. When you hit 100,000 subscribers, they'll send you a silver play button. When you hit 1,000,000, they send you a gold one. Or at least that's the way it's supposed to work. I haven't gotten mine yet. They say it takes about 3 weeks, but I hit 100,000 subscribers over 2 months ago. They do have an email address that you can send an email to, but it feels a little weird to ask about this, so I'm just gonna go in my garage and do it myself. The first thing we need to do is reverse engineer this thing. I need to find a head-on picture of a play button so I can get the correct dimensions and spacing. I can pull this photo into one of these font recognition programs that kind of work but not very well, and I'll find a font that's close enough. Then we drag the image into our CAD program and sketch over it. This thing looks to be about 12 inches tall, so we'll go with that. Then I'll just trace everything out. For the play button at the top and the YouTube logo at the bottom, I found some vector graphics. This shape is almost certainly some stylized spline rather than a simple constant radii. I'm going to change up my design a little bit. These look neat, but I'm going to add some depth to mine and make it super simple to fabricate by having it all laser cut. I can make several layers and then stack them together to get the big play button at the top and the text at the bottom. I don't really like the text feature in CAD, so I'm actually going to write the text in Adobe Illustrator and then export that as a DXF file that I can pull into my CAD program. So I'll type it out and then convert the text into lines. I'm going to make a couple of changes to the text. The first is the number of subscribers. Usually you get a silver play button for passing 100,000 subscribers, but that was a while ago. So I'm just going to put my current subscriber count on here. I'm also going to put quotes around presented to, since this wasn't really presented to me because I'm making it myself. The design here is very small. These letters get really narrow. There is a limitation on laser cutting with respect to the diameter of holes and the width of lines. It usually needs to be about twice as wide as the thickness of the material, otherwise you'll get an inconsistent edge. I'm going to be using aluminum that is 40 thousandths of an inch thick, so my lines should be at least 20 thousandths of an inch wide. I duplicated the font and size of the original YouTube play button best I could, but that leaves some really small areas that are narrower than 20 thousandths, so I bumped up the size of the font slightly. Now we need to make the layers. The big play button up here is super easy. The top layers all have this large cutout, and then we have a layer that has a triangle cut out of it. Inside the triangle, we laser out a taller triangle and stick that in there. Then we stack it all together to get this three-dimensional play button. The text is a little bit trickier since some of the letters and numbers contain cutouts inside the cutouts, like the letter P and the number 0. If we just cut these out, the letters will look weird. So I'll have 3 layers. The top one will have the outside cutouts, the middle one will have the inside cutouts, and the back will just be the backing of the insides of the P's and the O's. So that's why I have 3 layers here when we only need 1 to get the play button up top. I'll also just add some holes in the corners to bolt this all together. I could just use spray adhesive to get it all stuck together, but I like the industrial feel of some fasteners holding it together. Once I got the design done, I just export the DXF files and upload it to Send to Cut Send. They'll laser it all out for me. Now I could just do this all in aluminum, maybe brushed aluminum for the top, and then I could polish this aluminum layer to make it look like the silver play button. Or, I have a better idea. Let's use some more interesting materials. The actual play triangle, we're going to make out of carbon fiber. The letters down here need to have a contrasting color. I'm going to stick with brushed aluminum for the top since it's kind of supposed to be a silver play button, but that means the letters need to be something darker so you can read them. I could go with carbon fiber down here, but you wouldn't be able to see the weave, so I'm going to go with titanium. Some of you will note that titanium and aluminum aren't that different looking, which is true unless you heat that titanium up to about 500 degrees Celsius. Since I only need this part to be a contrasting color, and since it might look weird to have a different colored layer in here, I'm gonna have this layer of aluminum with a cutout for the titanium letters. It's also less expensive this way. Now, while brushed aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber all fit within the Superfast Matt motif, I'm afraid it all together will look too polished, too clean. it needs a certain je ne sais quoi. Je ne sais quoi, of course, being French for rusted metal. Thankfully, Send Cut Send has a material for that called Corten, or sometimes weathering steel. This is steel that's designed to rust, but not continue rusting all the way through. It creates a stable layer of oxidation on the surface. I always thought it would be cool to see a car company make a car using this stuff. Like, stainless is cool, but a rusted Cybertruck? Somebody get Elon on the phone. Now that I have the material, there are 3 things I need to modify. One is to blue the titanium. I can do that with a torch and it shouldn't take too long. The second is to brush the aluminum. I can do that with some sandpaper and that should also be pretty quick. Interesting thing to note here, you see how the inside of these letters are way more reflective than the top layer? Well, that's because both of these sheets of aluminum were brushed, but they're 90 degrees to each other. The brush strokes here go top to bottom and the ones here go side to side. So if I just rotate the bottom piece 90 degrees so all the brush lines are in the same direction, it looks great. So I'll have to make sure to brush these both in the same direction. Anyway, third thing I need to do is to make the weathering steel weathered. You can actually buy stuff specifically designed to do this, but you could probably just also dump some acid on it. I'm going to do it the easy way. So that's done, probably. We'll check tomorrow. Next up is bluing the titanium. Before you color titanium with heat, you have to clean it first. I knew this, but I didn't, and you can see it amplify the imperfections. So I sanded it down to a nice even finish and tried again. It was hard to get a consistent color on this. As you increase the temperature, the color changes from purple to blue, and then it starts to get lighter again. The areas around the cutouts are just going to be a little hotter, so it won't be consistent, but I think it'll actually look better this way. Not terribly consistent, but I think it'll look pretty cool. Let's check it out. Look at that YouTube. Oh, look at that YouTube. For the brushed aluminum top, I'll need to sand all in one direction. To do this, I'm going to use some spray adhesive to get the aluminum stuck to the table. Then I'm going to use this speed square. I'll have the edge hanging over the table, and I'll just tape some sandpaper to the bottom. Then I can slide it back and forth and get a consistent brushed look. Since this already had some brushed lines, I went ahead and sanded it all down to 1000 grit sandpaper before I went back with 400 grit to get the brushed look. I'm doing this on both the top piece and the third layer down, which will be the insides of the O's and the P's. This way it will have a consistent reflection. After that, time to assemble. I'll just tap the steel and the back layer of aluminum and then bolt it all together with some 1/4 inch button head bolts. To protect the wall, I'll add some felt squares around the back of the bolts. And there we go. My silver play button. Man, wouldn't it be funny if YouTube threw up a YouTube copyright violation on my video for using their copyright? I had this hanger laser cut out the back 2 layers, so I can just drop it on a screw head. It used to be that you had to impress people to get people to watch your show. Now you just have to impress the algorithm. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. All hail the algorithm.